Greetings and salutations, comrades. Hope this finds you well. Quick shout out to the INN, the Indie News Network, which I am a part of and super stoked to be a founding member of that. Awesome. So many awesome people connected with it. And no, this is not a MAGA shirt. It says Make America Not Racist for the first time. And so I came across the story of Julius Jones. He is set to face execution, so to be murdered by the state tomorrow in Oklahoma. Obviously, we should abolish the death penalty for a number of reasons. One of them is obviously, the United States has no business sanctioning the murder of anybody. For fuck's sake, the country was founded on the genocide of the indigenous people here and the enslavement of Africans. And, white supremacy still very much, runs very deep in this country. And, people have been executed by the state more often than not. It seems like they are innocent. And, obviously people of color are overrepresented on the death rows throughout the U.S., including in Oklahoma. And the story of Julius Jones is particularly egregious. Just looking at the facts of the case here, there's just so many things wrong. I'll share the petition below, but for fuck's sake, the petition for the governor of Oklahoma to grant him clemency has like over 6 million signatures. But again, he's still faced with being murdered by the state tomorrow. There's a picture of Julius. Let's see. So the recommendation, the death sentence to life in prison with possibility of parole, now goes to Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt. He's still scheduled to be executed November 18th. That's tomorrow. He's been on death row in Oklahoma for 18 years for 1999 murder. He's always said he's had no part of. And again, there's no fucking evidence that he actually committed this murder. More than 6 million people in county have signed the petition supporting Mr. Jones in his fight to prove his innocence in the killing of Paul Howell, a business person in Edmond, Oklahoma. One of 7 people facing execution in Oklahoma in the next 6 months, if carried out, there would be the first executions to take place in Oklahoma since 2015, after a series of botched executions resulted in a statewide moratorium. Look at this. Julius Jones was at home having dinner with his parents and sister at the time of his murder. However, his legal team failed to present his alibi at his original trial. His trial attorneys did not call Mr. Jones or his family members to this. Jesus fucking Christ. He did not match the description of the person who committed the crime, which was provided by a sole eyewitness. The person who killed Mr. Howe was described as having 1 2-inch scar, 1 to 2 inches of hair, but Mr. Jones had a shaved head. A man named Christopher Jordan matched the eyewitness hair description, but claimed only to have been the getaway driver and not the shooter at the trial. He was the state's star witness against Mr. Jones. In exchange for testifying that Mr. Jones was the shooter, Mr. Jordan was given a plea deal for his alleged role as the getaway driver. He served 15 years in prison and today is free. 3 people incarcerated with Mr. Jordan. Again, that's the person that supposedly that's the person that snitched on Julius Jones and said, well, I was just the getaway driver. And it was, Julius Jones who murdered, this person. 3 people incarcerated Mr. Jones at different times had said in sword affidavits that Mr. Jordan told each of them that he committed the murder and framed Mr. Jones. None of these 3 men have ever met Mr. Jones, and they do not know one another, and none of them have been offered a shorter sentence or incentive to exchange for disclosing Mr. Jordan's confession. Jesus fucking Christ. Impact of racial bias. Of course, Julius Jones is a black man, right? Mr. Howell, a white man, was killed in a predominantly white neighborhood immediately. Then District Attorney Bob Macy characterized the crime as an act of violence committed by black men fueled by drugs. Narrative was perpetuated by media coverage. The officer who arrested Mr. Jones called him the N-word and dared him to run that implied he would shoot him if he did. 11 out of the 12 jurors at Mr. Jones' trial were white, and one juror referred to Mr. Jones by the N-word and suggested that he'd be taken out behind the courthouse. And Jesus, what? God fucking damn. 1/3 of District Attorney Macy's death penalty convictions have been overturned due to prosecutorial misconduct. Many of those convictions were vacated are black people. To date, 10 people sentenced to death in the murder case in Oklahoma have been exonerated. Fucking A. Sign the petition, donate if you can. But I mean, god damn, dude, just so much fucked up shit there, right? Again, just another example why we need to abolish the fucking death penalty in the United States. Again, it disproportionately targets people of color. Again, if a white person commits the same crime as a black person, the black person is more likely to get the death penalty compared to white person for committing the same fucking crime. And again, the whole American justice system is based on racism and white supremacy, and targeting poor people, particularly poor people of color, right? But god damn, there's just so much wrong with this fucking case, right? The Julius Jones should be fucking free right now. Along with, I mean, god damn, it's just fucking disgusting, but not surprising, right? God damn. Quick shout out to the two Uber comrades supporting my channel and this content, my partner and Indie Left News. Definitely check out Indie Left News. They're a great resource, but fucking A, you hope this governor in Oklahoma, grants clemency to Julius Jones. I mean, why, if you got any type of conscience or soul, why the fuck would you? Why would you be waiting till this last second? I mean, just look at the fucking facts of the case. There's so many things wrong with it, right? I mean, that the supposed getaway driver who ratted out Julius Jones, like, he disclosed to 3 different people in prison that he was actually the one who committed the murder. Julius Jones had a fucking alibi, but his attorneys didn't present that evidence at court. Like, god fucking damn. Free fucking Julius Jones. This is fucking fucked up.